We want to go ahead and bring in Joe Bailey. He's the artistic director over at the Ringwald, and Brandy Joe Plambeck, the media director. Thank you for being with us on the
Thank
MegaCast.
you.
The theater is still closed. How are you surviving?
Well, it is an unprecedented time. We were lucky to get some grants to help us along. And then since the shutdown, we have put out a couple of virtual things that we filmed that are sort of on brand for us. We did a Golden Girls parody Zoom call using four male actors as the Golden Girls.
I was Rose.
And then we just did a Facts of Life one a couple of weeks ago using, again, three male actors and one cis female. And I was Mrs. Garrett.
And I was Natalie.
So that's sort of what we've done so far. We have another thing planned for the coming months or so. So hopefully by then we'll be able to get back to business.
Yeah, how long do you think the theater can survive if it remains closed?
Well, I don't know. I've put off having those thoughts just yet because for the moment we're fine. And it's just a matter of vaccine and there we have a friend who runs a theater in Florida who has now about to start his third show. They open back up in July, I think. So it's just a kind of wait and see kind of situation.
And even when we can open, when they say, okay, you can open your doors, it's like, do people want to come back and sit in a tiny little space like ours is? So that's like the other side of it as well. But I mean, we are good for now. I think we'll be good at least through the end of the year. And we're just looking at ways to continue to make content, even if we can't have our theater open, so that we can still generate income, and more importantly, so we can like keep our artistic juices flowing, because that's like really what it's all about for us.
We're joined by Joe Bailey and Brandy Joe Plambeck, the artistic and media directors of the Ringwald Theatre, with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. So in regular times, and if and when we get back to that, hopefully sooner rather than later for your operation, what can people usually expect? What kind of shows can people usually see at the Ringwald?
We're a fairly eclectic mix. We're kind of known as the gay theater. We do like a lot of parody stuff, especially in the summertime. We do like our summer camp thing that we like Mommy Dearest parodies, whatever happened to Baby Jane, Golden Girls sort of things. But we do musicals. We were the first theater to produce August Osage County locally. So it's kind of an eclectic mix.
So you had mentioned about the creative side of this and trying to stay connected. Are you trying to do some things virtually to keep that going?
Yes, we have done two things so far virtually that we filmed and made available for the general public on a name your own price kind of situation. And when the lockdown first started, we put up one of our parodies that we did a few years ago as a fundraiser for people to donate and get a copy of that. And we're looking at another one coming out maybe around the holidays or so. And then beyond that, we don't have anything cemented.
And so far, everything that we've done, we've written ourselves, or rather, for the most part, the last two parodies we had Vince Kelly and Matt Arrington, and Vince Kelly used to be a part of the Ringwald, who now lives in Minneapolis, have written those for us. Although other larger like playwrights like throughout the United States, the streaming rights have become available to certain plays. We haven't actually like really heavily looked into those. We've kind of been writing our own content because it's a little easier to produce and put together.
One thing we have learned from so many other organizations is this crisis has also forced all of us to get creative. Do you think there is a positive that will come out of this for you and the Ringwald Theater?
I mean, it certainly is, like you said, it's forcing us to think in ways that we have never thought before. And also, I think it has the possibility of extending our reach just outside of the Detroit area in terms of the content that we produce. So I think once things get back to normal or get back to what will be our new normal, um, I anticipate that we'll probably still keep our fingers in that pot for a while, just to sort of keep that reach going.
And one interesting thing we haven't mentioned, in October, we're doing our Gay for Detroit Festival. It's normally done in June as sort of like a gay pride celebration, but this year sort of gay pride was canceled and it was originally kind of rescheduled for September. We thought things would be better then. And now we've just sort of pushed it to the end of October. It's October 23rd through the 25th. And this year we asked for our play submissions from to be submitted from anywhere around the world and to cover sort of the theme of how things have been since the pandemic hit, to have that sort of a spin on the subject matter. So we picked 5 really great scripts that will be produced virtually in a number of various ways. And some of the directors and the actors are from different places in the United States. But it's sort of a cool way to address how this has affected people like within the gay culture since the pandemic hit. We'll also have a drag show and a comedy special as well. So it'll be a pretty cool weekend.
So, how do you produce plays virtually? Can you just kind of give us some insight into that, how it's going to look?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people in the theater community. There's been a lot of discussion because things need to be filmed, and so that really takes away the nature of what is theater. But it's also not really film because you're filming a play and not using all of the tricks of the film community, if you will. So I think we've all sort of been creating this hybrid of theater and film. So these particular scripts will be filmed, and we've given the directors sort of free reign of however they see fit to film their particular show that they're doing. So, but yeah, I sort of liken it to like if you see a show, like a Broadway show on PBS that's been filmed, I still feel like I've seen that show, even though I wasn't there live and it wasn't like a film of it. So it is this weird hybrid that I think we're all just trying to get comfortable with.
I think the most common go-to for these sort of virtual shows since the pandemic hit is to do sort of a Zoom presentation where you have different people on their different cameras because it's the safest and easiest way to do it. You've seen some creative ways that people have done that with our 2 summer shorts, The Facts of Life and The Golden Girls, we did this summer. We filmed it virtually through Zoom, and then we edited it together through having done it a couple of different takes. So it does have that like that editing that you would do with film, and we would add like a laugh track because you can't have a sitcom without that. But we're looking at some various ways. We've really instructed the directors for Gay for Detroit to, as Joe mentioned, to sort of, be creative, do whatever they'd like, as long as they're keeping safety measures in place. All of the shows have only 2 actors. So ideally, we've mentioned, if you're using 2 actors, maybe you use 2 actors who have been quarantined together, like Joe and I have, and that is like a good route to go. So yeah, you've seen like a lot of different things, but for the most part, it's been like a Zoom sort of presentation because it's the easiest and safest thing to do.
Joe Bailey and Brandy Joe Plambeck, both from the Ringwald Theatre, joining us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. So for those that may want to get involved in these productions, maybe as actors or as stage hands, whatever the case may be, how could they potentially get involved in this, or is there availability for that?
Yeah, our doors are always, theoretically always open for anyone who wants to get involved. Probably the best thing would either be to go to our website, which is theringwald.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, all the socials, Instagram, all those things. And we always disperse information that way too.
So I know that the theater is actually a non-for-profit, and I feel like in the beginning of the pandemic, people were reaching out to help support organizations like yours, but as this continues to drag on, have you noticed the financial support is starting to lag behind? And how do you want to infuse that enthusiasm to keep the theater going, because it is such a needed part of the community?
Yes, we have noticed that. I think, when this all started, it was so unprecedented that I think everyone was just pitching in what they could. And I think as you have said, as it's worn on, I think people have become more concerned about their own personal finances and their own personal situations. And since, I mean, really, we're in the state of Michigan, we're kind of like almost the last industry who is still not allowed to open our doors yet. So, and like, you know, like Brandy Joe said, once we do, it's going to be a matter of like, are we going to have diminished possibility of people in the space? Are people going to want to come? So we're just trying to think of ways that we can generate excitement with our content and be true to our brand, and just try to ignite that excitement in people to want to see what we're still doing and to keep contributing to us so that we can still keep doing that in the future.
So as you mentioned, you are one of the last industries to be allowed to reopen. You are still closed. What are your thoughts on that, especially now that football and sports are being allowed to return?
I mean, I support our governor, so I mean, it's unfortunate that we're not open, but at the same time, like even if she said today you can open, I don't know, you know, I don't know if people are going to want to necessarily come visit us just yet. So that's just going to be a measure of trial and error, I think, to see how that all works out. But I mean, I'm content to wait it out until it's as safe as it possibly can be.
I know. I think the latest word in New York is that they're saying like maybe not for another year will their theaters be back open, and there's nothing definite, but that's sort of the latest like word that's on the street, on the internet rather. And I'm hoping, you know, we don't have to wait that long. But New York is obviously a much different story than we are here. But yeah, I think our friends in Florida, like the theater where he is on his third show, I think that they have like a maximum of like 15 or 20 people that can fit in there. They're all spaced apart. And I don't know if we could only have like 10, because our space is so tiny. If we could have 10 people in there, it would just be a very interesting experience to have a show.
You could sell it as an intimate, you know, a private showing and maybe charge more.
That's true, because having only 10 people at a performance, I don't know if it would be financially viable for us anyway in the end. So it's really just a whole bunch of wait and see, I think, at this point.
And it is exciting to see what people are doing out in the industry to keep things fresh and interesting. Open Book Theater in Trenton, they have like driveway theater where you can pay so much money and they'll come out to your driveway and do a show. They're also doing like one-on-one sort of like Zoom presentations. And it's fun to see what people are doing to keep the ball rolling, to keep their creative energy up, and to engage with their audiences. It is a really interesting time for that, and a very cool thing to watch what people do.
Mm-hmm. Joe Bailey and Brandy Joe Plambeck with us. They are with the Ringwald Theatre. If people want to support your organization to help you keep the doors open, how can they do that?
The best way would be to go to our website, which is www.theringwald.com, and there is a donation page on the website, and you can give that way.
And we'd be forever grateful.
Forever.
Forever grateful. Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast, and we are looking forward to the festival coming up in October. Maybe we can have you on again before the festival. It's the end of October, but support the Ringwald Theatre. Thank you so much, and keep your spirits up, and we hope to see you back open here soon.
Well, thanks Ronnie. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.